Sharding is a technique used to distribute data across multiple servers to improve scalability and performance. MongoDB sharding is the process of partitioning data across multiple servers, called shards, to distribute the load and improve performance and scalability. Sharding allows MongoDB to scale horizontally by adding more servers to the cluster as the data grows. Here are the best practices for MongoDB sharding. Plan for sharding. Plan for sharding early in the development process to ensure that the data model and application design are sharding friendly. This means designing the schema with shard keys in mind. Choose the right shard key. Choose a shard key that distributes data evenly across shards and is frequently used in queries. The shard key determines how data is distributed across shards, so choosing the right shard key is critical for optimal performance. Monitor shard performance. Monitor shard performance to ensure that data is evenly distributed and queries are evenly distributed across the cluster. Use tools such as MongoDB's built-in monitoring and performance tools to track performance and identify bottlenecks. Use replica sets. Use replica sets for each shard to provide high availability and data redundancy. Each replica set should consist of at least 3 nodes, primary, secondary, and an arbiter. Use a dedicated config server. Use a dedicated config server to store metadata about the sharded cluster, such as the location of each shard and the shard key. Use at least 3 config servers for redundancy and reliability. Plan for data migration. Plan for data migration when adding or removing shards from the cluster. Use MongoDB's built-in tools, such as MongoScalDump and MongoRestore, to migrate data between shards. Test and optimize. Test and optimize the sharded cluster regularly to ensure optimal performance and scalability. This means running load tests and tweaking the configuration as needed to achieve the desired performance. Use a balanced shard distribution. Ensure that the data is evenly distributed across the shards. MongoDB provides the balancer to move chunks between shards to balance the distribution of data. Use chunk sizing. Use chunk sizing to ensure that each shard is handling a similar amount of data. MongoDB automatically splits the data into chunks and distributes them across the shards based on the shard key. By specifying a chunk size, you can control the maximum amount of data stored in each chunk. Use zone sharding. Use zone sharding to distribute data based on location or other criteria. Zone sharding allows you to specify rules for how data is distributed across the shards based on a specific attribute such as a geographic location or other criteria. Avoid frequent chunk migrations. Avoid frequent chunk migrations between shards. This can negatively impact performance and increase latency. Use a shard key that evenly distributes the data and keep an eye on the chunk distribution to identify any hotspots. By following these best practices, you can successfully implement sharding in MongoDB and scale your database to handle larger amounts of data and higher loads.